Hey everybody, welcome to Bura. In this episode, we're going to be asking the question, does the Apple tax prevent you from becoming a millionaire? Alright, welcome back. Before we start this video, I want to make sure that you like and subscribe. The more likes and subscribers we get, the more content we can make. So, Apple's tax is in the news recently as a lot of big companies tend to not like it. This list of companies include Tinder, Unreal, Spotify, and many more. In addition to that, all the big tech companies are going to be put under the microscope to see if they are exhibiting any antitrust behavior, and Apple is one of them. So the big question is, does the App Store exhibit antitrust behavior? Well, let's dive into that, but more or less, let's dive into the fact whether or not the Apple tax or any of these taxes prevent you from becoming a millionaire. So I'm a small business owner and an indie developer, and if Apple wants to take 30%, I honestly don't think that that's a big problem. And the reason why I don't really think that's a big problem is because any exposure I get from Apple is good. And I do think that there is a lot of work that needs to be done to make sure the App Store is safe, etc. So 30% might seem high, but for someone like me, it's completely acceptable. Steam, Xbox, and a lot of these other platforms take this much anyway. Now the major question is if I had $1 billion and 100 million users like Fortnite does, is that Apple tax too much? Now, like I said in this video here, I think Apple should get ahead of the game. And the reason why I think this is because Russia has said that they might force Apple to charge only 20% instead of 30%. And other governments might follow. So if they get ahead of the game and say that, hey, look, we're not actually charging as much, or we're adding in a sliding scale, which I think is the best solution to this problem, by the way. If we add in a sliding scale, then it really isn't that big of a problem. And by the way, it is fairly expensive to run an app store. Now, of course, this won't satisfy everyone, but I think it will satisfy most people, specifically governments, from actually putting in legislation to force Apple to give developers more. There's an email app called Hey, which is apparently really amazing, and it had some problems with the App Store. There's a really good interview, although it's quite long, which I will link down below, and you can listen to it. So to sum up that interview, basically what happened is that the Hey app got approved, and then they changed something to make sure that the payments were done on their website, and then Apple disallowed it. And then it was reinstated with this very cumbersome bad user experience. And that really is the crux of the antitrust suit. If I, for example, make a company like Netflix, for example, I can't get people to sign up in the app. However, if I made an application for my MacBook Pro, I could do that because it's a lot more open. So because smartphones are very much a part of our life, and there are so many of them, it might be too monopolistic to have this closed. So again, I do like Apple, and I think they do have a case of making the App Store safe. I don't want to have to download antivirus software on my phone. That's going to be a huge mess. If it were open, you can definitely assume that there will be malware, and that malware is good for no one but the people making the malware. So I do really like Apple. I have an Apple Watch. This is being recorded on an iPhone. I have a MacBook Pro, and I just ordered a custom iMac. So I really do like Apple. I also have a PC, but that's just because I'm a developer. But I do like Apple so much that I don't really want to see them go into this spiral. And the fact that I also like the Unreal Engine so much, this puts it at odds for me because I like these things so much. And it's kind of weird to think that Unreal and Apple were on a keynote stage together just a little while ago. So does the Apple tax prevent people, specifically you, from becoming a millionaire? Well, the answer is absolutely not. You can make a website and maybe make a software as a service, and you don't even need an app. You can just basically make a website that does something, and you can make millions of dollars that way. You don't really need the App Store or anything that's closed. In fact, it might be even better to not go down the mobile road. If you want to make a game, for instance, you can actually have quite a bit of success on Steam, and you might make $1 million over 2 or 3 years if you play your cards right and you have a good enough game. You don't even need to release for the iPhone. And this is a piece of advice which probably warrants its own video. If you don't play mobile games, then you should probably not make mobile games. Just because there are a ton of iPhones out there doesn't mean that you should make a mobile game. If you want to make a console game, then make a console game. You'll do way better at it than if you make a game that you're not really accustomed to playing. If you like mobile games, then you absolutely should make mobile games. So you can definitely become a millionaire by not even going on Apple. You can go into Steam, which also takes 30%, but the point is you're not really going on Apple. So Epic is releasing a marketplace that will be available soon to indies, and I bet you they're gonna take less than Steam, and I think this is a really good thing. So competition is really good. So remember, if you have a really good idea, people are going to flock to it, and the percentage that a company takes isn't really going to matter. It does matter though if you want to scale from, let's say, $1 million company to a $10 million company to a $100 million company to a $1 billion company, and which is why all these companies are fighting Apple on this. It's hard for them to grow. Now, there are other platforms out there, for example, Udemy, which take 50% and nobody talks about it. In fact, a lot of the sales on Udemy takes 75%, and that is almost flipped from what the App Store takes. Now, there's a reason why they take 75%, and the reason is actually quite simple. They are spending ads for you to get customers, and the ad business is really expensive. If you've ever tried to run a successful Facebook ad or Google ad campaign, you'll know that you have to spend a lot of money to make, well, not so much money. Usually it's a 1-to-2 ratio. So if you want to make $1 million, you have to spend $500,000. Of course, that's not always the case, but it's a good metric. So Udemy takes 75%, and on organic sales, they take 50%. Now, 50% is, well, of course, literally half, and it's definitely more than 30%. And again, no one really talks about it. And no one really talks about the course development environment, but if you want to, let me know in the comments down below. If you want to hear more about that specific area of business, please comment down below. So one of the things I've learned over the years, and after talking to many successful people, is that successful people are going to be successful, and they're not going to really stop until they're successful. Whether there's a 50% tax or a 30% tax, it doesn't matter. These people are going to do the least possible resistance way to become the most successful they can be. And sometimes it's not even about money. It's like, let's say they want to be a great YouTuber and they want to basically make great YouTube videos. They will find a way to do that, and the money will come after that. If money is the intended goal of a lot of people, then they'll just find the way to make the most amount of money for the least amount of work. And sometimes that means going on to Apple, sometimes it means selling on your own website. So the point is that you shouldn't let a 30%, 50%, or 75% tax prevent you from becoming the most successful you can be. There are always other options, and if this 50% tax is too high, then maybe you should do something else. Alright, so that concludes this video. I want to make sure that you like and subscribe. The more likes and subscribers we get, the more content we can make. And also, please share this video on Reddit. Remember that this channel doesn't do a Patreon. Instead, we sell our digital products down below. The more money we get from the content that you buy below, the more content we can make. If you really like this channel, you can subscribe to Mammoth Interactive's huge library of content. We release 20 to 60 hours of fresh new content per month every month, and we have a monthly and yearly options. If you really like this channel, please subscribe to Mammoth Interactive's content. It really does help us out. We literally take all the money we get from the subscriptions and put it into new content. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. Not only do you make this YouTube channel possible, you make Mammoth Interactive possible. Help us get to 10,000 monthly subscribers on Mammoth Interactive. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.